Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reborn as Gohan in future timeline. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also, a quick update, the stories, What If Reborn in Naruto World and What If Transmigrated as Harry Potter, are going on hold soon, as we have almost caught up with the author. So once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what the next project should be on this channel. I'm currently deciding between these three fanfics. What if becoming a mangaka in One Piece world? What if Dragon Deck user in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. What if Transmigrated as a Kanto gym leader? I will be setting up a poll for this, so please vote in the poll and let me know which two stories you'd like to see next on the channel. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 41. Majin Buu. Supreme Kai's eyes grew distant, recalling the painful past. That was a long, long time ago. At that time, humans on Earth had just started to learn to walk upright. In the depths of the universe, there was an evil wizard named Bibidi. One day, Bibidi accidentally created a terrifying being later known as Majin Buu. Majin Buu has no emotions, only a drive to kill and destroy. It's a monster whose purpose is to create terror. In the thousands of years that followed, thousands of planets became wastelands. Gohan already knew this, so he just listened as Supreme Kai recounted the story. He also knew that Majin Buu wasn't created by Bibidi but was a terrifying creature that had existed since ancient times. Bibidi just happened to have a way to control it. Supreme Kai mistakenly thought that Bibidi created Majin Buu. Supreme Kai continued, at that time, there were other Supreme Kais besides me. The West Supreme Kai, the North Supreme Kai, the South Supreme Kai, and the Grand Supreme Kai who led us. I was the youngest and followed their lead in everything. Each of them possessed amazing power, especially the Grand Supreme Kai, who could kill a master like Frieza with a single finger. But later, Majin Buu invaded the Supreme Kai realm and killed all four of them. Only I, the youngest, survived because I didn't dare to take action. Supreme Kai showed a painful look, hating his cowardice and incompetence at that time. He took a deep breath to calm himself and continued. Majin Buu was so terrifying that even Bibidi, who controlled him, was afraid of him. So, Bibidi sealed Majin Buu when he had to rest, making him unable to move. Years later, Bibidi planned to invade Earth and brought the sealed Majin Buu there. While Bibidi was unsealing Majin Buu, I took the opportunity to kill him. But I was afraid that destroying Majin Buu would wake him, so I hid him in a very secluded place on Earth. It's been tens of millions of years since then. The story ended, and Gohan felt that Supreme Kai was about to collapse from fatigue. It seemed that Majin Buu had indeed become Supreme Kai's nightmare. Gohan sorted out his thoughts and said, Lord Supreme Kai, have you ever considered finding a new hiding place for Majin Buu? The Earth today is not the same as it was millions of years ago. The human population on Earth has grown significantly, and they are much more advanced. It's no longer safe to keep Majin Buu hidden there. Supreme Kai looked at him and said, Mr. Gohan's concern is valid, but where should we put him? I'm worried that any disturbance might unseal him. Gohan smiled and said, you don't have to be so scared. I can handle Majin Buu even if he wakes up. I'm just worried that if he's left on Earth, someone with ill intentions might steal him. If that happens, Supreme Kai will be in big trouble. I can't stay on Earth and guard him all the time. Well, Supreme Kai frowned, thinking. Mr. Gohan, do you have any ideas? Gohan smiled and said, I do. I want to transfer Majin Buu to the Supreme Kai's realm. What do you think? What? Supreme Kai and Kibito's faces changed drastically. Absolutely not. Gohan raised his hand to stop them and said, listen to me first. It's unsafe to keep Majin Buu's sealed egg on Earth. Apart from various unstable factors, have you considered that Bibidi might have descendants? If they steal Majin Buu, you'll be in big trouble. Do you think I'm right? My idea is to put Majin Buu in the Holy Land where the old Kai was sealed. You can check on him anytime, ensuring nothing goes wrong. Supreme Kai. Kibito. What Gohan said made sense. The main reason they were hesitant was that Majin Buu had invaded the Supreme Kai realm in the past and killed 4 Supreme Kais there. Just when Supreme Kai was still hesitating, the old Kai, who had been silent, spoke. Okay, just do as Gohan said. Since the old Kai had spoken, how could Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito dare to disagree? They had no choice but to agree. Yes, ancestor, Supreme Kai Shin said weakly. Seeing this, Gohan patted his chest and assured, Lord Supreme Kai, don't worry. If Majin Buu shows any unusual activity, you can contact me anytime, and I'll rush back to deal with it. Well, that's good, Supreme Kai sighed in relief. Then let's go now without further delay, Gohan said. Okay, Kibito, I'll trouble you to take us for another trip, Supreme Kai looked at Kibito and said. Kibito said, Lord Supreme Kai, you are too kind. This is my duty. He put his hands on the shoulders of Gohan and Supreme Kai. Whoosh! Gohan felt his vision blur, and everything changed. The world transformed. The 3 of them had arrived on Earth. It was truly impressive. Gohan's eyes burned with determination. He wanted to learn Kibito's instant movement as soon as possible. They arrived at an ice field, where the wind was biting and the sky and earth were connected, forming an endless white expanse. Is this the ice field deep in Yunzabite Plateau? Gohan looked around and recognized the place. That's right, Supreme Kai nodded. Where's Majin Buu's sealing ball? Gohan asked, confused. Supreme Kai pointed to the place under their feet and said, it's right under your feet. Gohan squatted down, scraped off the ice chips on the ground, squinted, and looked down. Sure enough, under the more than 10-meter thick ice, he saw something resembling a walnut. Presumably, that was Majin Buu's sealing ball. Gohan smiled and said, this kid is quite pitiful. He's been lying here for so many years, enduring the cold and hunger. This place used to be a desert, but after several crustal movements, it became what it is now, Supreme Kai explained. Okay, please move aside. I'll take it out right away, Gohan said, and a blue energy ball condensed in his hand, slamming it onto the ice. Ah, no. Supreme Kai and Kibito were shocked, but it was too late to stop him. They couldn't even think of taking the sealed ball out so violently. Boom! The ice exploded, sending ice flying everywhere. The whizzing sound made Supreme Kai and Kibito jump with fear. At the same time, a huge walnut-shaped object flew into the air, then hit the ice surface heavily, rolled a few times, and stopped at the feet of Supreme Kai and Kibito. Hiss! Supreme Kai froze. Chapter 42. Kibito also shuddered. What was going on? They were all afraid that if they moved too much, Majin Buu would wake up. But Gohan was different. He just blasted an energy bomb down and hit the sealing ball up. Their bodies were stiff and they were almost in tears. To be honest, they were a little scared. Kibito trembled and said, Mr. Gohan, can you be a little more gentle? Supreme Kai also echoed, yes, it will be troublesome if Majin Buu wakes up. Hey, don't worry. Gohan walked over and picked up Majin Buu's sealing ball in his hand, throwing it up and down like playing with a ball. Kibito and Supreme Kai's eyes stayed on Majin Buu's sealing ball, never leaving it for even a second, and they nodded frantically. Gohan continued, Majin Buu has been sealed in there for tens of millions of years. If it could be easily broken, he would have come out long ago. First, he hasn't lifted the sealing spell, and second, he doesn't have enough energy, so he can't get out. Really? Supreme Kai and Kibito asked anxiously. Of course, don't worry. Let's go, we should go back. Gohan urged. The Majin Buu sealing ball fell from the sky and was held firmly in his hand. Oh, okay. Kibito nodded and put his hands on the shoulders of Gohan and Supreme Kai again, and the 3 of them whooshed back to Supreme Kai realm. Gohan put the sealing ball on the ground, and old Supreme Kai came over, walked around it, and said with a sigh, TSK 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 TSK, it really is something full of demonic energy. Let's take it and put it away quickly. Yes, ancestor, Supreme Kai replied. Then, Kibito carried old Kai on his back, Gohan held the sealing ball in his hand, Supreme Kai flew alone, and they returned to the place where the Z-sword was sealed. Gohan put the huge sealing ball on the top of the mountain, and the top of the mountain was almost full. Gohan clapped his hands and smiled, okay, this time it's finally done. Supreme Kai walked around the sealing ball again, making sure that the sealing ball was not damaged anywhere, and the stone in his heart was put down. Then, they returned to the ground. Gohan said, after all, the Supreme Kai realm is the holy land of the Kai, and it is impossible for mortals to reach here easily. In the future, Lord Supreme Kai and Kibito should remember to conduct spot checks on time to ensure your safety. Supreme Kai replied, we will definitely conduct spot checks on time, otherwise we will not be at ease. Yeah. Gohan nodded, then looked at Old Kai and said, Old Kai, how can we contact each other in the future? I can't teleport either, which is too inconvenient. I can't send you the good things I collected. Can you teach me the move like Kibito did? Gohan asked. Old Kai waved his hand and said, it's useless. I can't teach you that. Well. Gohan sighed. How about this, you take this thing. Old Kai thought for a moment and took out a glass bead as big as a fist from somewhere and handed it to Gohan. What is this? Gohan took the glass bead and looked at it carefully. Old Kai explained, this thing is called a communication bead. When you find something good in the future, just talk to it and we can hear you. Then I will ask Kibito to pick you up. Okay, this thing is good. Gohan grinned and put the communication bead into the universal storage capsule with satisfaction. Thank you, Grandpa. Gohan said with a smile. Well, let's go. Old Kai turned his back and waved his hand. Gohan turned to Kibito and said, Kibito, I'll have to trouble you to take me back to Earth again. Okay, it's a piece of cake, Kibito said with a dull expression, as if he was not smiling. Lord Supreme Kai, goodbye, thank you for the sword. Gohan smiled at Supreme Kai. Supreme Kai also waved at him and smiled, Mr. Gohan, you're welcome. Come and play with me often in the future. Yes, of course, Gohan responded with a smile. Let's go, Kibito. Well, okay. Kibito responded, put his hand on Gohan's shoulder again, and then they disappeared in an instant. The next second, the two appeared at the door of Capsule Core. Mr. Gohan, we have arrived. Goodbye then, Kibito said goodbye immediately after they arrived at the destination. Stop for a bit, Gohan grabbed him. Eat something before you go. I promise it's something you've never eaten before. It's definitely delicious. Is this good? Kibito's Adam's apple slid and he swallowed. Speaking of which, the food on Earth is indeed delicious. What's wrong with that? We are friends, you know? There's no need to be polite between friends, let's go. Unable to refuse the hospitality, Kibito reluctantly ate 15 ice creams, 10 lobster balls, 8 iceberg Edelweiss chicken legs, and a cup of milk tea. Ahem, Kibito, how does it taste? Gohan asked. Mr. Gohan, it's delicious. I've never eaten anything this delicious in the Supreme Kai realm, Kibito said honestly. Of course, these things are only available on our Earth, not anywhere else. You can come here often in the future. The quantity is large and you will be full, Gohan said with a smile. How can I take advantage? Kibito looked honest. Gohan waved his hands and said, it's nothing. It doesn't cost much. The main thing is to have a good meal. We don't need to care about this among friends. Then thank you, Mr. Gohan, Kibito said with a smile. I'm so full, I should go back. Wait a moment, Gohan waved to the waiter. The waiter immediately brought 2 bags full of food. Gohan took the bags from the waiter and forced them into Kibito's hand and said, you have eaten, but Supreme Kai and old Supreme Kai haven't eaten yet. Take these back with you. Thank you, Mr. Gohan. Kibito felt his eyes moisten. Oh, Mr. Gohan is such a good man. He even thought of the 2 Supreme Kais who were far away in the Supreme Kai realm. In comparison, he seemed to be just a child, only caring about eating. Shame on him. A warm current flowed through Kibito's heart. He was really touched this time. By the way, Kibito, I want to go to Yard Rat tomorrow, Gohan said. Kibito stood up straight instantly and said, then I will pick up Mr. Gohan on time tomorrow. Do you want to go in the morning or in the afternoon? Hey, you don't have to be so serious. You can come in the morning, Gohan said with a smile. Okay, I'll come over tomorrow morning. Kibito nodded heavily and teleported away. Gohan brought a bag of food back to Capsule Corps and found Bulma studying the big piece of Katchin steel. Trunks sensed Gohan's presence and ran out of the gravity room. As soon as they met, Trunks chattered about what happened the day before yesterday. After listening to his story, Gohan was a little surprised and said, you said you saved a girl named Lily, right? Yes, what's wrong? She even invited me and Videl to dinner, Trunks said. Nothing, congratulations. Gohan patted Trunks on the shoulder and continued, you stink, go take a shower and come out with me after you're done. Do you want to go out and play? Trunks' eyes lit up, and he immediately ignored the first half of Gohan's words. Don't you want to go? If you want to go, hurry up. Otherwise, I will go by myself, Gohan said. Go, I'll go. Gohan, wait for me, I'll be quick. Trunks left at the speed of a flash. Bulma turned her head and asked, Gohan, where are you going? I promised old Kai that I would buy him some local specialties, Gohan said with a smile. Oh, Bulma nodded. It's an old man? Is he going to buy healthcare products or something like that? Yes, it is a health supplement, Gohan nodded. Chapter 43. Healthcare Products. That's right, they are healthcare products. This is the lifelong passion of old Kai. When he was young, old Kai traveled extensively across various galaxies, gaining vast knowledge and experience. Trunks quickly washed off the sweat, put on dry clothes, and hurried out with Gohan. A moment later, Gohan returned with a full load, and Trunks beside him was full of curiosity. Brother Gohan always goes to some strange-looking stores, makes Trunks stand guard at the door, and doesn't let him come in, buying something mysteriously. While eating, Trunks couldn't help but ask, Brother Gohan, what did you buy? Gohan put a finger on his lips and whispered, Shh, the secret can't be leaked, or old Kai will be angry. Old Kai? Is this something I bought for old Kai? Of course. You should stop asking and don't even think about watching it secretly. Old Kai doesn't like others to know his secrets. Oh, okay. Trunks nodded seriously. This led to him bypassing those stores every time he passed by them, never stopping. Trunks has always been a man who keeps his promises. But thinking back to the things in the storage capsule, Gohan was also shocked and dumbfounded. Perhaps it was to take revenge on the androids. The Earthlings used advanced AI technology to shoot a series of photo albums for number 18, including magazines and video albums. They even set up a column for sale in the store, which was amazing. Column, photo album. Column, HD video. Gohan bought it after feasting his eyes. Hard work pays off, and he finally lived up to the expectations of old Kai. After a short rest, Gohan and Trunks came to the lookout. He wanted to talk to Dend about upgrading the Earth Dragon. The current version of the dragon is too low level, and it must be upgraded severely. At least he wanted it to revive people who have been dead for more than a year, whose bodies and souls are still available. There is no way to revive those who have been reincarnated, but those who haven't should be revivable. It must be arranged, and it is time for the new upgraded version to go online. After listening to Gohan's request, Dend frowned in some embarrassment. Gohan, it's not that I don't want to upgrade Shenron, but the power in my body is not enough. Whether it's mental power, soul power, or dragon power, each one is far behind, and I can't reach that level now. Gohan thought for a moment, then asked, is there any way to improve your strength? Den said, of course, with specific training, and it would be best if I have a superior training environment and guidance from a senior. Then can you go to the hyperbolic time chamber? Gohan asked. This is different. The gravity in the hyperbolic time chamber is as high as 10 times, and it is mainly for physical training. It is difficult for me to bear it. In addition, there is no one to guide my training. Whether it is mental strength, soul strength, or the power of the Dragon Clan, it should be difficult to improve. So what can I do? Gohan frowned and thought hard. The problem Dend mentioned sounded very tricky. At this time, Trunks on the side suddenly said, "Brother Gohan, have you forgotten someone? He may be able to help Brother Dend." "Who is it?" Gohan asked in confusion. "Supreme Kai. Didn't you say that his position is higher than Brother Dend's? Doesn't that mean he knows more? There should be no problem in guiding Brother Dend in his training." Trunks said. "Oh, right. How could I forget about this? Supreme Kai may not be very reliable, but old Supreme Kai is indeed quite capable." Gohan's eyes lit up. He was confused and lost. As a bystander, Trunks suddenly remembered that Supreme Kai was here. "Ah, Trunks, I'll give you credit for this," Gohan laughed and patted Trunks on the shoulder. "Who? Supreme Kai?" Listening to their conversation, Dend was shocked and thought he had misheard. "Yes, Supreme Kai. Can he help you?" Gohan asked. Maybe the previous Dend didn't know who Supreme Kai was. But after he inherited the position of Kami, he also understood the system of Kai. Supreme Kai is the greatest god in the universe, an existence that is countless gods higher than him. He is an extremely powerful Kai. Dend wiped the sweat from his forehead and said, "If it's Supreme Kai, maybe he can help me practice." He. Gohan laughed. "That's easy." As he said this, he took out a storage capsule and took out a communication bead from it. He contacted Old Kai immediately. After a few words, Old Kai's portrait appeared on the communication bead. Old Kai on the communication bead looked radiant, and his squinting eyes were as wide open as possible. He asked expectantly, "Gohan, what's wrong? Is there a result?" Everyone who was listening didn't dare to speak. There should be some important agreement between Gohan and Old Kai, which was not something they could guess. Gohan nodded and said, "Of course, I have always kept your affairs in my heart. This time I came back, I didn't even have time to eat before I went to arrange it for you. I guarantee you will be satisfied, he. By the way, have you eaten the food that Kibito brought back?" Old Kai smiled, and his eyes became even smaller. "I ate it, and it tasted pretty good. I didn't expect that the food on Earth could be so delicious." "Hi, of course, Grandpa. You have to take good care of Earth in the future, otherwise the loss will be too great." "Ahem, I'm not just talking about food." "Okay, no problem," Old Kai patted his chest. "That thing." Gohan immediately smiled and said, "I will have Kibito hand that thing to you tomorrow. I guarantee it will be safe." "Well, that's good, Old Kai said with satisfaction. "Grandpa, I want to ask you a favor," Gohan said. "Go ahead," Old Kai was in a good mood. "It's like this, I want the Earth's Kami to go to the Supreme Kai realm to study. You can give him some pointers when you are free. Do you think this is okay?" Gohan patted Dend's shoulder. "Ahem, Dend, introduce yourself." Dend stretched his head over, with an extremely pious expression on his face. "Hello, Supreme Kai, I am Dend, the Kami of Earth." Old Kai was silent, while Dend swallowed his saliva nervously. After a while, the silent Old Kai finally said, "Well, sure, but I have to make it clear first, I won't teach him too many things, I'm very busy." "Isn't that a good idea?" Gohan smiled and said, "No problem, you don't have to teach him anything else, just give him some pointers on his own practice when you are free." "Okay, I'll let Kibito go and get him now, and you can give that thing to Kibito as well." "Well..." Old Kai is indeed a man of character, and he is also very decisive in his work. "Okay, then you can ask Kibito to come over," Gohan said. "Okay. Kibito, go quickly." As soon as he finished speaking, Kibito appeared above the lookout. Gohan solemnly handed him the storage capsule, taught him how to use it, and repeatedly told him to hand it over to Old Kai in person. In this way, Kibito took Den to the Supreme Kai realm and started his journey of further study. Chapter 44. With the guidance of Old Kai, Den should be able to make some progress. Gohan suddenly felt a little excited. Next, Gohan had to plan for himself and Trunks. They were going to Yard Rat, where they would learn teleportation and many other advanced techniques. But this trip would not take just 1 or 2 days. Gohan remembered it very clearly. It took Goku more than half a year to learn teleportation, and with the time spent traveling, it took a full year. He and Trunks were going for such a long time, and they were a little worried about the Earth. But fortunately, most of the major threats had been dealt with. Cell was dead, and Majin Buu had been moved to the Supreme Kai realm. These two significant dangers were taken care of in advance. As for Zamasu, whose existence was still unknown, it was impossible for him to jump out and cause trouble so early, so Gohan felt somewhat reassured. But to ensure that everything was foolproof, Gohan still asked Supreme Kai and North Kai to help keep an eye on the Earth. Whenever there was an abnormality, Kibito would bring Gohan back to Earth immediately. Trunks was very excited to learn that he could go to another planet to train. But Bulma was reluctant to see Trunks and Gohan leave. She kept giving them advice and talking to the two brothers for a long time. Gohan, if you're going to be gone for such a long time, why don't you go and say goodbye to Videl? She often asks me about you. That girl must have fallen in love with you, Bulma said. Gohan thought for a moment and said, forget it, I'll talk to her when I get back. Aren't you afraid of making her sad? Bulma asked helplessly. Not really. Actually, I haven't met her many times. She is just curious about me now. It's ridiculous to talk about love. It's okay. But Trunks, don't you want to go meet Lily? Gohan teased Trunks. Trunks' face turned red and he said, No, I won't go. Brother Gohan, you should marry Videl first. You're still shy, Gohan said, pointing at him and laughing. That night, Trunks was too excited to sleep. But even so, he woke up early, though he looked a little funny with 2 dark circles under his eyes. After a quick wash, Bulma had asked the robot to prepare breakfast. At this time, Kibito also came to Capsule Corp. At Gohan's invitation, Kibito was a little embarrassed to have breakfast together, but he ended up eating a lot. Then, in Bulma's reluctant eyes, Kibito took Gohan and Trunks away by teleportation. Looking at the suddenly empty house, Bulma sat there for a full hour before going back to improve the time machine. In the northern galaxy, on the planet Yard Rat, 3 figures suddenly appeared out of nowhere. They were Gohan and his companions. Thank you, Mr. Kibito, Gohan said. Trunks also said, Thank you, Mr. Kibito. Kibito still looked blank and said, You're welcome, Mr. Gohan. If you have anything, please contact me. I can come and pick you up at any time. Okay, Gohan nodded. Goodbye, Mr. Gohan, Mr. Trunks, Kibito said, waving to the two. Goodbye. Goodbye. Trunks, who was called Sir for the first time, was secretly happy and waved his hand. Kibito disappeared in an instant. At this time, Gohan and Trunks were able to look at the surrounding environment. Looking up, they saw endless high-rise buildings. These towering buildings were exquisitely and uniquely shaped, full of technology, and not inferior to any city on Earth, perhaps even better. In comparison, Namek seemed like a planet inhabited by primitive humans. At this time, a yard rat finally discovered them and walked toward them. As he moved, many more yard rats surrounded them. The sound of footsteps continued. It was estimated that there were more than 100 people. What's going on? Brother Gohan? Are they trying to gang up on us? Trunks asked. It's okay, just wait and see, Gohan said, looking at these yard rat people. They wore clothes that Gohan had seen before, the same style that Goku wore back from here more than 10 years ago. There were 2 types of yard rat people who surrounded them. One had pink skin all over the body, big fish-like eyes, and dense spots on the top of the head. It looked ugly. From the perspective of Earthlings, it could be said to be extremely ugly. The other kind had a huge green pabara, and the skin looked very much like slime. If you had to choose between the two, Gohan thought the second one was acceptable. At least it's big, round, and cute. The leading yard rat had been looking at Gohan and Trunks. He walked a few meters in front of Gohan and stopped, and the Pabara said, "Hello, guests from outer space." "Hello, friends from Yardrat. We two brothers are from Earth. As you can see, we have no ill intentions and came to Yardrat to learn from you." Gohan smiled and tried to make himself look more friendly. "Ha? You are from Earth? Is Mr. Goku your friend?" Hatsuka asked in surprise. "Ha? He actually knows my father?" Gohan was delighted. He immediately laughed. "Hello, Goku is my father, and my name is Gohan." "Ah, that's why. Welcome. Ha, so happy, it's Goku's child. How is Goku now?" The Pabara looked very happy. Gohan said, "My father has passed away for more than 10 years. I didn't expect that you actually knew my father." "Ah, Mr. Goku passed away?" Hatsuka was shocked. "Well, he died of a heart attack a year after he returned from Yardrat," Gohan said. "That's a pity." "Mr. Gohan, please accept my condolences," Hatsuka said. It's okay, it's been many years," Gohan laughed. Through the conversation, Gohan knew why they had good intentions toward Goku. The Ginyu Force had once invaded Yardrat but was suddenly summoned back by Frieza halfway. Goku defeated the Ginyu Force, so they were all grateful to Goku. Chapter 45. Hatsuka was very enthusiastic and told Gohan and Trunks a lot of history and interesting stories about Yardrat. Looking at the densely packed heads nearby, Trunks asked curiously, "Hatsuka, is the population of your Yardrat planet large?" No, Hatsuka replied. Sorry, I'm actually the only one here." Hatsuka scratched his head and said awkwardly. As soon as he finished speaking, all the densely packed Yardrat people nearby disappeared. He was left standing there alone, with a silly look on his face. "Ha? What's going on? Why did they suddenly disappear?" Trunks was shocked. Gohan also frowned and looked at Hatsuka quietly. Hatsuka explained, "We Yardrats are very weak and have a small population. In order to increase our strength and not be underestimated by others, we usually increase our number by cloning ourselves." "Well?" Trunks was stunned. "What does this mean?" Gohan said, "So, these people we just saw are all your clones? I can actually sense the ki from each of them. They look exactly like the real person. This is too outrageous." Yes, I call it cloning," Hatsuka said. "What a magical ability," Trunks said, his eyes sparkling. He had never seen such an interesting move before. This kind of move would be very effective in battle. It could completely make the fake look real, and even masters who are proficient in sensing ki would find it difficult to distinguish them if they are careless. Gohan said, "Hatsuka, Trunks and I came here this time to learn. Can you introduce us to your great elder?" Of course, you can follow me," Hatsuka said with a smile, leading Gohan and Trunks up a staircase. After walking for a while, Hatsuka took the two brothers to a bright house. "Go in, the great elder is inside," Hatsuka said, opening the door. The three of them entered. There were not many Yardrats in the house. Hatsuka pointed to a huge Yardrat and said, "Let me introduce you. This is the great elder of our Yardrat, Lord Pabara." Elder Pabara taught Goku how to teleport. Two guards stood beside the huge Elder Pabara, and it was unknown whether they were real people or clones of Elder Pabara. The blue-skinned Elder Pabara looked at Gohan and Trunks and said, "Yes, I taught Goku how to teleport. Welcome to Yardrat." Gohan looked at Elder Pabara and immediately thought of the former Great Elder of Namek. They were both great elders and equally huge. It was just that the Great Elder of Namek was already in his twilight years. Elder Pabara in front of him had tight skin and looked chubby like a blue slime, so it was impossible to tell his age. But he was probably not young. Gohan smiled and responded, "Hello, Elder Pabara, we came from Earth specifically to learn the technique of teleportation from you." Pabara glanced at Gohan for a few times, then said, "You are Goku's son, you look a bit similar." Gohan nodded, "Yes, Goku is my father." Elder Pabara laughed and said, "It is called a teleportation technique, but in fact, it is just a way of using Supurito. As long as you learn to control Supirito, you will naturally be able to comprehend some magical abilities. What is Supirito? Trunks asked. Supirito, in your Earth's terms, is something called spirit. Spirit. Gohan listened to Elder Pabara's words, and a strong sense of familiarity came over him. So in the final analysis, it was all about learning how to control the ki, and then using the ki to generate all kinds of wonderful abilities. Yes, it's spirit. For example, teleportation, Elder Pabara said, and with a whoosh, his body teleported to the other side. Cloning. Figures flashed one after another, and a series of identical Elder Pabara appeared in the room. Gigantification. Elder Pabara's body suddenly shrank, and in the blink of an eye he went from a giant to a little over 1 meter tall. This is too cool, Trunks said excitedly. Gohan couldn't help but secretly marvel at the methods of the Yardrat people. Elder Pabara continued, these abilities are actually very simple. You only need to use Supirito to move, split, and expand them to achieve them. Any of us Yardrats can do this, so as long as we understand the structure of Supirito, you can learn the skills you want to learn. Well, that's the so-called breath structure, Elder Pabara added. Gohan had to admit that Yardrat's understanding and use of ki had reached an incredible level. All along, they, the Scions or the Earthlings, could only use ki to fly and send out attack waves to attack opponents. But few people could develop these magical abilities. There was no way to use various ki like Yardrat. Gohan patted Trunks on the shoulder, and they bowed to Elder Pabara and said, we ask Elder Pabara to please teach us. Well, okay, but as the saying goes, the master can only introduce you to the door, but the practice is up to you. How much you can learn depends on your comprehension, said Elder Pabara. Yes, Gohan and Trunks nodded heavily, then smiled at each other. In the following days, Gohan and Trunks began a long life of hard training. The Yardrats arranged a house for the two brothers to live in. Every morning, they would go to Elder Pabara to ask for some knowledge about the structure of the spirit. If they had any questions, they would ask them in time, and Elder Pabara would answer them in detail. In this way, a month passed quietly. Gohan and Trunks began to get started with the knowledge of the structure of the spirit. The second month. In-depth study and consolidation. The third month. Finally, in the third month, Gohan successfully performed instant teleportation, but it was still very unfamiliar. In the fourth month, Trunks finally grasped the trick and performed instant teleportation for the first time. In the fifth month, Gohan's instant teleportation had become proficient, and he began to learn another ability of breath, separation. Breath-forced separation technique. This is an ability that can forcibly separate the energy that has been combined or absorbed. This ability sometimes has unexpected miraculous effects. In the sixth month, Trunks began to learn the division of Supirito. This division is also called cloning technique, which can create many clones. In the seventh month, North Kai brought some bad news. Chapter 46. The Underworld. Lord Yama, who is as big as a hill, sits high in his work position. He wears a pair of large black-framed glasses, and beads of sweat keep rolling down his cheeks. His thick beard is all wet with sweat. The poor Lord Yama has been working overtime for more than a dozen years. After working so hard for more than 10 years, Lord Yama is going crazy now. He holds a seal in his right hand and flips through the information of the deceased with his left hand. His eyes are red and helpless as he looks at the endless dead in front of him. His job is to judge which souls should go to heaven and which souls should go to hell. But there are too many souls in the past 10 years. Even if Lord Yama works overtime and works 7 days, the backlog of work will never be finished. The souls he is dealing with now are still the inventory that was suppressed several years ago. There is no way, there are not enough people. There are too few talents available in the underworld. Therefore, he had to bring back all the external staff and temporary workers to share the pressure. For example, the fortune teller Baba is now maintaining order in the Soul Channel. The workload is getting bigger and bigger, and the pressure is getting heavier. King Yama doesn't even have time to cry. He feels that he has become a working machine without any emotions. Groups of white souls are lined up in rows, and there is no end to them. But there are exceptions to everything. Some things can only be handled specially. For example, those scary guys who can still maintain their human form after entering the underworld. If they are not dealt with first, the roof of the Yama Hall in the underworld would have been blown off by them long ago. Good people go to heaven. Bad people go to hell. Well, let Lord Yama recall it carefully. The contestants who have recently joined the queue to go to hell are Bojack, Zanya, Kogu, Bujin, Baito, and androids 17 and 18. If you trace back to the past, there are Vegeta, Frieza, King Cold, etc. The way to go to heaven is very simple, just take the special train and go up. In comparison, going to hell is much more complicated. Souls that need to go to hell must first pass through a machine to wash away the evil aura on their bodies, and then they can enter hell to be punished. Some evil souls with heinous crimes cannot be washed clean even after passing through the machine several times. Such evil guys are generally sentenced to life imprisonment, sinking in hell forever, and never being able to reincarnate for the rest of their lives. As for the evil aura washed out, it will be collected in jars and managed by special people. When those jars are full, they will be replaced with new ones. Over time, soul cleansing has become a death assembly line. Working here is boring and tedious. In hell, those extremely evil souls are used to being arrogant, so it is impossible for them to take someone else's order. So there is a scene where no one is willing to submit to anyone else. Therefore, there are fights every day in hell now. This riot phenomenon has lasted for more than a year. Boom! Several energy bombs hit the underworld, causing a violent roar. Countless waters of the underworld gushed out, splashing everywhere, and it started raining in hell. Once these raindrops touched the body, they would corrode the soul and produce a strong stinging sensation. Countless ghosts were drenched by the rain, and they screamed heartbreakingly. On the ground, Frieza clenched his fists, angrily looking at the people fighting in the sky, his teeth clenching. Ho ho ho, damn monkey, damn Saiyan monkey, go to hell, you guys work harder, kill him. In the sky, Goku showed his power, fighting against 5 people alone, fighting Bojack's team. The rumbling sound was endless, energy bombs flew everywhere, and the whole hell was in turmoil. HAAA. After some probing, Goku exploded instantly, his whole body was shrouded in golden flames, his blonde hair and green eyes, and he turned into a Super Saiyan, and then he kicked Bojack in the head. Seeing Goku's transformation, Bojack's pupils shrank rapidly, and the fear in his heart was infinitely magnified, so that he directly forgot to dodge, and took Goku's kick. Boom! Bojack was kicked and flew out, and fell into the yellow spring with a thud, and the water splashed more than 10 meters high. My king! Koga shouted, drew the long sword from his back, and slashed at Goku. Zanya and Baito also attacked Goku at the same time. Bujin stretched out his hands, trying to control Goku with magic. Your moves are useless to me. Goku laughed, and golden energy gushed out of his hand, grabbing Koga's sword. His other hand and foot blocked the attacks of Zanya and Baito at the same time. As for Bujin's control, it was of no use to him at all. Ha! Goku shouted, and a strong aura burst out from his body, blowing the 4 of them away. The 4 rolled in the air for a long time before they could barely stabilize their bodies. Koga looked at Goku in shock and asked, who are you? This blonde and green-eyed look is so familiar. Goku said, I am Goku. Bojack soared into the sky from the ground, panting at Goku who looked like a golden god of war. He also asked, what is your relay? Relationship with that guy on Earth? That guy on Earth? Oh, you mean Gohan, right? I see, you must have been killed by him. Gohan is really amazing, he has grown up to be a very powerful person, ha ha ha. Goku stretched out his hand to scratch his head and laughed. Gohan? That guy's name is Gohan? Bojack was stunned for a moment. Yes, that is my son. Goku said with his hands on his hips. Damn it, that's why, no wonder he has the same golden transformation. Bojack gritted his teeth, staring at Goku with eyes full of hatred. Red-haired guy, since you have fought with Gohan, why don't you fight me again? Now in this hell, I think you should be the strongest one. Goku looked at Bojack and said. As soon as Goku said this, he immediately attracted countless anger. Frieza stared at him with resentment in his eyes. Vegeta rushed out from nowhere and turned into a Super Saiyan with a boom, but judging from his aura, he was only Super Saiyan 1 beginner. Kakarot, your opponent is me, he said angrily. Vegeta, I'll fight you later. I'm going to fight this guy first. Goku pointed at Bojack and said. Damn it, Kakarot, you dare to look down on me. Veins popped out on Vegeta's forehead, and his golden aura became even stronger. He was already furious. Vegeta, I didn't mean that. I just wanted to fight him first. Goku looked at him and said. Bastard Kakarot, take this. Vegeta was furious, his body accelerated, and he punched Goku hard. Goku raised his hand and easily blocked it. At the same time, a huge explosion was heard from the depths of the underworld. Then, pink smoke filled the air. Everyone looked over in confusion. In just a moment, an extremely evil breath gushed out, instantly sweeping across the entire underworld. Vegeta, Frieza, Bojack and others were shocked to find that their lost bodies had actually condensed back. Chapter 47. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. At this moment in Hell, all the souls that had not yet been reincarnated had regained control of their bodies. There was no death halo on their heads. Some evildoers even gained power and became even more powerful than before. The terrifying aura continued to spread. Soon it enveloped the entire underworld. Suddenly, yin and yang were reversed, and the dead were resurrected. In just a moment, the order of the entire underworld collapsed. Frieza, Bojack, King Cold and others cannot sense ki, but that does not mean they cannot sense danger. There are terrifying ki fluctuations in the place filled with pink smoke. It seems to be near the Yama Palace. Vegeta and Goku, who can sense ki, changed their faces at the same time. Because they both sensed an extremely evil and powerful ki. This ki was getting stronger and stronger. What happened? The two had no idea. But Saiyans are naturally warlike, and when they sensed the powerful ki, Goku and Vegeta's blood started to burn. What a powerful energy! I want to go check it out, Goku said excitedly. Then, his eyes flashed, and energy suddenly burst out from his body, and he flew towards the source of the evil energy. Vegeta's face looked ugly, but he did not hesitate for a few seconds and followed Goku closely. On the ground, Frieza moved his newly acquired body, clenched his fists and made crackling sounds, and said to King Cold on the side, Wow, father, it seems that something big has happened in the underworld, we must seize this opportunity. You are right, Frieza. We have our bodies back now, and I feel that my strength has increased a lot. This time we may be able to fish in troubled waters and find a way to return to the real world. I don't want to stay in this hell for even a single day, ho hoo hoo. Be careful, those guys are not weak. Yes, father, but I must kill Goku. This kid is pretty persistent, but he can't beat the other guy. In a dark corner, number 17 and number 18 appeared. They stared at the direction where Goku and Vegeta left with cold eyes. Number 18 said, Hey, number 17, did something happen? Goku and Vegeta left. Number 17 said, Well, it should be. There was a big explosion over there just now. Look, the air seems to have changed color. Oh, it really is. Should we go and have a look? Wait a minute. Let them fight first. Huh? What's that in the sky? Stones? All colorful stones? The two shrank back into the shadows in confusion. After more than 10 years of being arrogant on Earth, they learned to be patient after experiencing a disastrous defeat. In the sky, the 4 members of Bojack's team surrounded Bojack. Zangya said, My king, what should we do now? Bojack frowned and said, The guy named Goku is much weaker than his son. If we join forces to besiege him, we may have a chance of winning. As for that arrogant pointed-headed guy, he should be his mortal enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's go, follow him and act accordingly. Yes, my king. X4. 5 figures burst into air and flew towards the smoke-filled place. The sky of the underworld was colorful and colorful. Purple smoke, pink gas, and the dark smoke from the explosion. Several things mixed together and enveloped the entire underworld. A transparent barrier appeared outside the Yama Palace, isolating the Yama Palace from the underworld. With the appearance of the barrier, the king in the Yama Palace could no longer manage the power of the underworld normally. Then, the order of the human world and the underworld was in chaos. This is why all the souls have regained their bodies. All the souls that have not yet reincarnated have regained their bodies and resurrected in an alternative way. At this moment, a fat guy was sitting on the top of the Yama Palace. This guy is yellow all over and is more than 30 meters tall. It had a round head and a round body. There were several holes on its arms and chest for exhaust. The sky of the entire underworld then appeared one by one with huge colorful stones. These stones looked beautiful and weird, as if they would explode at any time. Goku and Vegeta arrived above the Yama Palace one after another. The yellow fat man must have sensed their key. He looked up at them with a simple smile on his face, and then shouted, "Janemba, Janemba." Goku looked at the yellow fat man in surprise. He could not imagine that the horrible evil key was actually emitted from him. Vegeta said in surprise, "Such a powerful key, what kind of monster is that stupid thing?" "I don't know, but his energy is really strong." Goku looked solemn, staring at the thing without even turning his head. "Janemba, Janemba, Janemba." The huge yellow fat man spoke again. Suddenly, the colorful stones in the sky rumbled down and smashed towards Goku and Vegeta. "What kind of move is this?" Colored stones rained down from the sky, and Goku and Vegeta used their skills to dodge quickly. But there were too many of these colored stones, and they were submerged in them like rain. Boom, 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 boom. A series of clapping sounds came. Goku and Vegeta, who were pressed under the stones, were in great pain. These colored stones were not ordinary stones at all, and they could cause serious damage to them. The colored stone rain completely submerged Goku and Vegeta, and soon piled up into a colorful stone mountain. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. The colorful stone mountain burst into a golden light that penetrated the sky and the earth. The stones exploded and flew in all directions. Goku and Vegeta rushed out of it in a mess. "Hoo hoo hoo!" Goku and Vegeta panted, with a look of confusion on their faces. They were injured to varying degrees. Who would have thought that they were attacked by only those colorful stones? Goku was fine, with only some scratches on his hands, but Vegeta was different, with blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. "Damn, what kind of monster is this?" Vegeta wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at the thing in disbelief. Janemba also turned his head to look at them. "Janemba! Janemba!" He kept chanting, and then took the initiative to attack Goku and Vegeta. "Damn, I was underestimated." Vegeta shouted, and golden flames erupted from his body, and he took the initiative to meet the thing. Goku also burst into anger and rushed up. They punched Janemba from the left and right. But the moment the fists hit Janemba, their faces suddenly changed. Then a strong recoil force came and bounced both of them away. The power they just hit was all backfired. Staring at Janemba, Vegeta's face was extremely ugly. He didn't feel so aggrieved when he faced the androids back then. The guy in front of him was simply not someone he could deal with. "Vegeta, let me make the first move. You just got a body and are still very weak," Goku said, clenching his fists and starting to increase his breath. Vegeta's eyes kept roaming around Goku and Janemba. He felt mixed emotions. With a loud shout, Goku's forehead suddenly showed blue veins, his anger began to boil, and his breath rose wildly. But at this moment, the voice of King Yama appeared. "Goku, find a way to break the barrier of Yama Palace first, hurry up, or it will be too late." "Barrier?" Vegeta and Goku looked at the transparent gas shield covering the entire Yama Palace. Chapter 48. "Vegeta, let's attack the barrier first," Goku said, condensing an energy bomb in his hand, smashing into the barrier. Kakarot, you don't need me to tell you. Vegeta said angrily, and he also threw a few energy bombs at the barrier. But they were soon dumbfounded. After their energy bombs hit the barrier, they were absorbed by the barrier, and did not cause any damage to the barrier at all. Not only that, their energy bombs made the barrier's defense stronger. Goku and Vegeta didn't believe it at all, and madly threw energy bombs at the barrier. But without exception, the energy bombs were like a drop in the ocean, and were all absorbed by the transparent barrier. How is this possible? They were both stunned. At this time, Janemba, who had been left aside, also got angry. Janemba's huge fist appeared out of thin air beside Vegeta and Goku. He punched them both out. Yes, that's right, it appeared out of thin air. Janemba tearing open a space channel. He stood still and threw a punch, and his fist would hit Goku's side. Goku and Vegeta, who were suddenly hit hard, were knocked dozens of meters away and fell to the ground, spurting blood from their mouths. The two rolled on the spot and jumped into the air. But at this moment, the colorful stones on the ground suddenly exploded and hit them. Ah! Wow! Goku quickly grabbed Vegeta and used an instant move to instantly flash behind Janemba, avoiding the attack of those colored stones. After distancing himself from Janemba again, Goku said in a deep voice, "Vegeta, the task of breaking the barrier is left to you, I will hold him back." As Goku spoke, he let out a long awe and golden flames gushed out. The powerful ki rushed straight into the sky, and his whole body was surrounded by lightning, turning into a Super Saiyan 2. What kind of transformation is this? Watching Goku's transformation, Vegeta's eyes widened in shock. The look of Goku at the moment of transformation was deeply engraved in his mind. Vegeta clenched his fists until they turned white, gnashing his teeth, looking at Goku, who was rushing towards Janemba with reluctance and helplessness, then turned his head and punched at the barrier. At this time, Vegeta was depressed and aggrieved, and very angry. Over the years, because he had no physical body and only had a soul left, he could not practice to become stronger. So his strength is still the same. Although he was suddenly enhanced by the evil spirit just now. But it is obvious that his current combat power is still very far from Goku. The proud Saiyan Prince could not accept that Kakarot at that time actually surpassed him by so much strength. Damn it! Vegeta turned his anger into strength and punched the barrier with force. After transforming into Super Saiyan 2, Goku moved instantly and appeared next to Janemba, kicking him sideways. Sound was heard, which was the sound of kicking through the air. But something strange happened. He clearly kicked Janemba, but his leg actually passed through Janemba's body without any sense of force, as if he kicked in the air. Goku was greatly shocked and quickly distanced himself from Janemba again. Kamehameha. A powerful Kamehameha wave shot out towards Janemba. This blue light that penetrated the sky and earth instantly came in front of Janemba and was about to hit him. But a strange scene appeared again. A dark crack suddenly appeared in front of Janemba, swallowing Goku's Kamehameha wave. The Kamehameha disappeared out of thin air. What kind of trick is this? Goku was horrified, with an expression of disbelief. After fighting for several times, he could not understand the opponent's moves at all, and did not cause any damage to Janemba. Even if he hit Janemba, the power would be rebounded and the opponent would be completely unharmed. After outputting 0 damage, he was still injured by his own power. How can he fight? Goku soared into the air, floating in the air, and shouted loudly to King Yama's palace, "King Yama, what kind of monster is this guy?" King Yama's voice rang out. "Goku, it's called Janemba. The underworld has accumulated a lot of evil energy over the years, and it hasn't had time to purify. Today, a little red Oni had an accident while working. He accidentally broke the jar containing evil energy, and then many jars storing evil energy exploded. These evil energies took the little red Oni as a host and attached themselves to him, and then turned into the huge Janemba in front of you. In other words, Janemba is the embodiment of the evil energy accumulated in the underworld over the years. So that's how it is, then does it have a weakness?" Goku asked. King Yama said, "I don't know, this is the first time something like this has happened in the underworld." Goku was speechless. Although he still had some tricks up his sleeve, the guy in front of him was hard to figure out and it was difficult to fight him. Vegeta was still smashing the transparent barrier, but it was of no use. The toughness of this barrier had reached a terrifying level, and it seemed impossible to destroy it. But the stupid-looking evil thought did not give Goku time to think, and it rushed towards Goku spitting out colorful stones. Goku intended to lead the Janemba away so that Vegeta would have more time to destroy the barrier, so he made a face at the Janemba that was rushing towards him and stuck out his tongue, Lulululu. Goku made such a weird move, and Janemba stopped attacking. He showed a simple smile on his face, and then shouted Janemba, Janemba. He looked like a giant child. He still had a childlike innocence. It actually worked? Goku was stunned for a moment, then turned around and raised his butt, slapping. Come chase me, idiot. Janemba, Janemba, wow Janemba. Vegeta was completely numb. Idiot, come and chase me. Goku suddenly yelled, and then his body exploded, and he ran away. Janemba was stunned for a moment, and then shouted Janemba, and Janemba chased him madly. Vegeta! What kind of fighting method is this? Kakarot, this idiot. That stupid Janemba is also an idiot. But thinking that Goku was now using his life to hold Janemba back, Vegeta quickly came to his senses and continued to attack the barrier. At the same time, some reborn undead found that the passage from the underworld to the mortal world was actually opened. Countless undead who regained their freedom squeezed into the passage, wanting to return to the mortal world. In just a moment, the passage was filled with undead, a huge crowd. Damn it, Vegeta, hurry up. King Yama urged. You shut up. Vegeta said angrily. Bastard, you put me to hell, and now you dare to order me to do something? Vegeta simply stopped smashing and stopped. What happened? Why did you stop? King Yama's anxious voice sounded again. Shut up. I can't break it open. Vegeta said angrily, flying around the barrier, but couldn't find any way to break it open. This, King Yama is going crazy. He has worked overtime for so many years, but he still failed to defend the underworld. Now the Yama Palace is sealed by a barrier, causing him to lose control of the underworld. Now that the dead have been reborn, the passage to the mortal world is wide open, and countless souls who should have died have returned to the mortal world. Isn't he failed at his job? All the hard work of so many years has gone to waste. King Yama is now like an ant on hot pot, pacing back and forth in the Yama Palace. Countless resurrected people passed through the passage and successfully returned to the mortal world. Frieza and King Cold, who observed for a while, rushed out. But the passage was already blocked, and they couldn't get through at all. You ants, don't block my way. As he said that, an energy bomb hit them. Boom! Countless resurrected people were killed. Who knew that number 17 and number 18 were actually mixed in the crowd? Then they were inexplicably shot by the King Cold. Damn it, you two lizards are tired of living, right? The two androids were not weak either, and they angrily fought with Frieza and King Cold. After Frieza and King Cold were reborn, their strength increased significantly. In a 1v1 situation, they actually fought hard with the two androids. Number 18 stand on King Cold's shoulders and pulled the horns on King Cold's head. Number 17 punched Frieza's head crooked. At this time, Bojack and his 5 companions had sneaked through the passage. Chapter 49. Bojack and his 5 companions carefully passed through the passage and returned to the mortal world. The exit of the passage connecting the underworld and the human world is near the Flame Mountain. When they first came out, the surrounding air was a little hot. But compared to the extremely bad weather in hell, this place is undoubtedly the Kingdom of Dreams. After experiencing the beatings of Gohan and Trunks, they have also learned that there are people who are better than you and there are heavens beyond heaven. They no longer clamor for the ridiculous dream of destroying the universe. Death has long erased their dreams. Now they just want to keep a low profile and find a spaceship to escape from this devilish planet. Keep a low profile, must keep a low profile. Because they don't know where Gohan is yet. What if they bump into him again and got killed again? They never want to go back to that hell again. Looking at the one who walked out of the passage, walking arrogantly, Bojack shook his head secretly. These guys simply don't know what's good for them. When the big blonde devil appears, you can just wait to become fireworks. Go quickly. He waved his hand and led his 4 men to sneak into the dense forest. At this moment, a loud shout blocked their way. Hey, you guys shouldn't be here, go back to hell. Huh? Bojack and his friends were startled and looked over. They suddenly saw a green figure that almost blended into nature appeared in front of them. Namekian? Bojack was well informed and recognized the identity of the visitor at once. That's right, the person who appeared is Piccolo. As the yin and yang of the underworld were reversed, the dead were reborn, and the passage to the human world was opened, Piccolo also came to the human world. Staring at Piccolo, Bojack frowned and said with an unhappy look, Namekian, if I'm not mistaken, you still have a halo of the dead on your head. You just came out of the underworld, right? Why are you meddling in other people's business now? Piccolo snorted coldly and stood there without answering him, but it was obvious that he was here to block their way. At the same time, in the heaven, the old Kami and Mr. Popo stood side by side on the edge of the lookout, overlooking the world. Popo looked at the old Kami and asked, Kami, what's going on? How did you come back to life again? The old Kami looked at the lower world with a deep look and said, Mr. Popo, don't call me Kami anymore. I'm no longer the Kami of the earth. I'm just a Namekian who suddenly died and came back to life. In Popo's heart, you will always be the Kami of the earth. This time the underworld was in turmoil, yin and yang were reversed, and I was able to be resurrected, but this is definitely not a good thing, because I was already dead. Don't say that. At the foot of the flaming mountain, after a stalemate between the two sides, the battle broke out. Piccolo has retained his physical body and has been practicing in the underworld all these years, so his strength has increased. But no matter how strong he is, his overall strength is probably only that of Xenia and the like, so his 2 fists are no match for 4 Gaxi mercenary, and he was beaten back by Kogu and Bujin. Bojack haven't made a move yet. Seeing this, Bojack sneered, even if you want to be a hero, you have to look at your own strength, right? With your strength, you dare to stop the 5 of us alone? You're already dead, so stop meddling in. At this moment, a giant rushed down from the dense forest. It is number 16. Number 16, who had been watching, knew that something is wrong with the earth, and decisively stepped in to help. Oh? There's help? It's like asking for death. Xenia, Bido, you guys go up. Quick victory, before he came. Yes, my king. Xenia and Bido faced number 16, also 2 against 1. However, no. 16 was stronger than Piccolo, so it was not so difficult to deal with them. Piccolo saw a big man rushing out to help him, and he was stunned for a moment. He took a look and found that it was not someone he knew. But in this moment of daze, his arm was cut off by Koga's long sword. In the underworld, the battle between Frisia, King Cold, and the android siblings is still going on. In fact, this is not the first time they have fought. When Android 17 and Android 18 first arrived in Hell, they fought once, and Frisia and King Cold were defeated. Now it is similar, Android 17 and Android 18 are fighting the father and son. Frisia and King Cold were beaten black and blue, and they were in great pain. Vegeta watched coldly, clenched his fists, and laughed coldly, these bastards, it's best for them to die together. What he didn't realize was that after he cursed, a barely perceptible crack appeared on the top of the transparent barrier. At the same time, the battle between Goku and Janemba has reached a peak stage. After transforming into Super 2, Goku and Janemba fought back and forth. It's just that Janemba will automatically heal after being injured, but Goku can't. After a while, Janemba is still intact, but Goku has become covered with scars. Goku somersaulted in the air and jumped out of the attack range of Janemba. He panted and looked at Janemba without any damage on his body, frowning tightly. At this moment, the right hand of Janemba suddenly glowed, and then he raised his hand and pressed it to the ground. Suddenly, densely packed small Janemba were created. Although they are called small Janemba, in fact, each one is more than 2 meters tall. It is estimated that there are 200 or 300 of them, and each one is the same. Janemba, Janemba. The little Janemba called out, his figure flashed, and his speed was fast. They were all at their utmost, all rushing towards Goku. Suddenly, a boom sound was heard. 200 or 300 Janemba clones submerged Goku. But Goku couldn't just sit there and wait for death. Ah! A long roar came from Goku in the meat mountain where Janemba piled up. Then, a golden light flashed, and all the little Janemba were blown away by Goku's momentum, and then exploded into smoke. The powerful ki rippled out in circles, and the golden flames rose more than 10 meters high. Along with the violent roar, Goku's golden hair kept growing longer, and his face was also changing. In just a few seconds, his golden hair grew to his waist, and the eyebrows on his face disappeared, making him look more ferocious. As the transformation was completed, Goku's ki increased several times in an instant, and the sharp ki flew everywhere, and his whole body was surrounded by lightning, which made the Janemba dumbfounded. Goku clenched his fists, looked at the Janemba with cold eyes, and said lightly, "I'm not very familiar with this transformation, so I'll use you to practice first." Swoosh! Goku disappeared out of thin air, and the moment he reappeared, he had already punched Janemba away. At the same time, Vegeta looked in shock at the direction where Goku and Janemba were fighting. What's going on? Kakaroto's ki suddenly became stronger, and now he can suppress the ki of Janemba? What the hell is this bastard doing? After a lot of hesitation, Vegeta's energy exploded and he flew towards the direction where Goku and Janemba were fighting. What kind of transformation is this? Vegeta opened his mouth in disbelief, looking at the Goku. How many form of Super Saiyan there is? Vegeta thought secretly in his heart, his face uncertain, secretly cursing Goku for being despicable and shameless. And after Goku became Super Saiyan 3, Janemba was no longer his opponent. Goku's fists were like rain, and punches rumbled on Janemba. Janemba's fat body was beaten back repeatedly, without any power to fight back, and saliva flew everywhere. Seeing this, Vegeta was furious. Damn Kakaroto, he could have turned into this form at the beginning, but this bastard took so long to transform. Amid Vegeta's dissatisfied cursing, Goku soared into the sky, his whole body bursting with golden light, and 2 huge light waves appeared in his hands, pushing towards Janemba. Janemba was blown into a pile of meat by the energy bomb before he could react. Chapter 50. Vegeta's eyes lit up. Did he do it? Goku stood high in the sky, like an invincible golden god of war. His eyes were extremely sharp, and the ki he exuded was too powerful. No, it has turned into minced meat, right? Why hasn't the ki disappeared? It hasn't even weakened at all? At this moment, the Janemba that had been beaten into minced meat began to wriggle, and then quickly shrank and condensed. Soon, it condensed into a figure that appeared in the thick smoke. This? Has Janemba evolved? Goku and Vegeta were both shocked to see Janemba appear again. But now Janemba is completely different from before. If the Janemba just now looked like an innocent child, then the current Janemba is much mature and older. At this time, Janemba body has undergone earth-shaking changes. The height is most obvious, which has been compressed from more than 30 meters to more than 2 meters, and the body is covered with a layer of hard armor. Its body also changed from yellow to a shape that is mainly red and supplemented with pink. The pair of dark golden eyes were full of evil ki, and the corners of his mouth kept sneering. You can tell at a glance that this is a big villain. Feeling the change in Janemba's ki, Vegeta was surprised and said, "This guy's ki has increased a lot." Goku frowned. He knew that the current Janemba was no longer the same as before. The current Janemba was in perfect shape and more suitable for fighting. In addition, his ki had been improved so much, and what was waiting for him next would be another tough battle. Time was running out. Goku shouted, his ki erupting, and he decided to attack first. He used instant movement and instantly appeared behind Janemba, punching out with flashing electric sparks. The fist broke through the air, almost tearing the space, and hit Janemba's body. Hee Janemba grinned, and his body suddenly turned into colorful particles and disappeared. Goku's attack failed and hit the air. Danger! Goku was alert and did not dare to be careless. He immediately distanced himself from Janemba. But Janemba's body suddenly came next to him, holding a purple-red energy ball in his hand and pressing it on Goku's chest. There was a loud bang. Before Goku could react, the energy ball exploded on his chest. The violent explosion blew Goku's clothes to pieces, and his upper body was covered with scars and blood. But this was not the end. Janemba opened his mouth and a cold energy ball gushed out, hitting Goku head-on again. Boom! As the strong explosion sounded, Goku spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, his body flew backwards and fell into the dust. He struggled for a while but couldn't get up. Kakarot! Vegeta shouted from the side. Janemba turned his head and looked at Vegeta with ill intention. Vegeta thought it was not good, but he was very hard-mouthed and said sarcastically, "You idiot, what are you looking at?" Hee. Janemba sneered and slammed his fist on the ground. Then, a fist appeared where Vegeta was standing and knocked him out with one punch. Fu Vegeta spat out a mouthful of blood, his hair turned from blonde back to black, his weak body could no longer support his transformation. Vegeta! Goku shouted as he struggled to get up. He gathered his hands on his waist and condensed a Kamehameha wave. A strong light illuminated the world, leaving only a dazzling blue. Hee Janemba sneered at him, and his right hand suddenly stretched out dozens of meters, grabbing Vegeta's neck in one go. At this moment, Goku disappeared in an instant. The next moment he suddenly appeared in front of Janemba, and blasted out Kamehameha at the closest distance. At such a close distance, Janemba had no chance of survival. But what was unexpected was that the accident still happened. He saw a space crack suddenly appear in front of Janemba's chest, and it swallowed Goku's Kamehameha wave. Then Kamehameha appeared to another place, turned at a weird angle, and rushed towards Vegeta. Goku didn't care about so much, and moved over again in an instant, picked up Vegeta and dodged to the side. His Kamehameha wave hit the ground. Suddenly, a violent explosion sounded, the ground cracked, and the entire underworld collapsed by 1/3. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Goku's chest was heaving, his body was covered with wounds, and he was panting. Vegeta could hardly stand straight. Bastard, how can there be such monster? Vegeta raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, with an unwilling look on his face. He is too weak now. He can't even withstand a single attack from Janemba. The difference in strength is huge. Goku said, "Vegeta, run away quickly, I'll hold him back for a while." Cough cough. Vegeta coughed up a mouthful of blood, looked at Goku with an angry look and said, "Escape? You let me escape? Kakarot, you underestimate me, bastard." Vegeta, listen to me, Janemba is too powerful, you have no chance of winning if you stay here. Goku said. Kakarot, do you have any tricks that you haven't used yet? Goku smiled bitterly and said, no. Goku actually still has a fusion technique of the Metamoran clan that he can use, but Vegeta's current strength is too weak. Not only that, both of them are seriously injured and it is impossible for them to complete the fusion. There is no way that Janemba will give him the opportunity to complete that complicated dance. Vegeta was silent. At this moment, Janemba picked up a small stick on the ground that came from nowhere. Then, the small stick immediately reorganized quickly and turned into a bloody red sword. Then, the sword slashed towards Goku and Vegeta. The red sword energy cut through the air, splitting the space into cracks. Goku's pupils shrank, and he took Vegeta to the side, then swung it hard and threw Vegeta out. Vegeta's cry came from far away. Janemba slashed at Goku with sword energy again and again. Goku kept dodging, but the sword energy was too dense, and he was exhausted, so he was finally slashed in the chest, and blood immediately gushed out. Hiss! A strong pain came over him. Goku almost fainted. He exploded again, but there was not much energy left in his body. Whoosh! Two energy bombs were thrown from his hands and hit Janemba. Janemba did not avoid it, and slashed with a sword, directly cutting the two energy bombs in half. But even so, the two energy bombs still exploded around him. It's just that he is too powerful now, and Goku was already at the end of his strength. This level of explosion can't hurt him at all. Janemba continued to laugh and walked out of the thick smoke. Looking at the intact Janemba, Goku's heart sank to the bottom. Desperate situation. Absolutely desperate situation. Although Goku has encountered many desperate situations in his life, he has survived every time. But this time, Goku couldn't think of how he could turn the tables. This Janemba was like an invincible demon god. There was no hope, powerful and terrifying. At this moment, the energy in his body was finally exhausted, and he changed from a Super Saiyan back to his normal black-haired state. Super Saiyan 3, Goku had just mastered it not long ago, and he was not proficient enough. Forcibly using it would put too much pressure on his body. That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Just a quick reminder, the stories, What If Reborn in Naruto World and What If Transmigrated as Harry Potter, are going on hold soon, as we have almost caught up with the author. So once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what the next project should be on this channel. I'm currently deciding between these 3 fanfics. What if becoming a mangaka in One Piece world? What if Dragon Deck user in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal? What if Transmigrated as a Kanto gym leader? I will be setting up a poll for this, so please vote in the poll and let me know which 2 stories you'd like to see next on the channel. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.